your hand? It's all wet. You finished shower already. You need to change your clothes again. So naughty. No Pikachu.
What up?
Do you have any more burps to let out now that we've started the podcast? That was crazy.
Got them all out right beforehand.
Those were just for me. Thank you. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Just had a couple of soccer games.
How did they go? I know there was some history, some tension in these soccer games.
Yeah, no, it was pretty interesting. First game, we were playing the same team we played last week. There was some guy I got in a big argument with. He did not show up for this game. I'm a little scared. I don't know. I don't know. But we ended up tying that game. It was unfortunate. We were winning most of it, but and then the second game, ah, they were just so shameless. We had two, so we have our main goalkeeper, right?
Mhm.
Um, they like injured him on a brutal play.
They
I know.
injured him?
They,
Intramural? They
yes, I
injured
know. It was fucking ridiculous. And this is after scoring, they scored their first goal, right? Because they injured our guy. They injured our guy and kept playing. They just kept playing like nothing happened. The guy literally like screamed out like in pain, and they kept playing. So, and then they injured our keeper, and then they injured our backup keeper, and that was the last straw. That was the last straw. I was like, chill the fuck out, okay?
You got into a fight, basically the same fight you got into last week then.
I know there's five teams in this league, and I've gotten in fights with two of them.
And one of them is you. Like
Yeah,
one of them is your
one of
team.
them is me. So half the teams I've gotten enough. So, so, and
I
we ended
wish
up losing that game. It was unfortunate. We lost 2-3. It
because
was,
they hurt both of your keepers. What are you supposed to do with no keeper?
I know. They scored two goals on the injury plays.
Is there no officiating in these intramural games?
No, there is a ref, but he's
It
a
is
nice
over.
guy actually. He's actually one of the better refs, I will say. He knows my name, which I really appreciated, actually.
Is it because you're causing trouble?
Maybe, but whatever.
Normally I would maybe be on your case about starting fights, but I feel like you're in the right, so I don't care. You gotta stand up for your team. You don't want dirty play.
Exactly right. I did. Exactly right. I mean, you gotta stick up for your keepers, especially. I mean, come on.
Come on. Yeah, no, I like the idea that you're keeping the other team in line. You just want a clean, good fight.
I know. I know. Yeah. Well, thank you. I was a little embarrassed for talking so much shit, but it was still fun. It was still fun. We're here
Someone's
now.
got to bring the heat.
True. True. How are you doing on this Sunday evening?
Well, I'm good. I woke up this morning to a text from both my brother and my boyfriend. Same exact text. Luka Doncic to the Lakers. It's like
Luka Doncic to the Lakers. You were
literally,
asleep by midnight? How?
I don't, I guess I was on asleep by midnight, or I was at least on Do Not Disturb. I probably wasn't asleep, but I literally opened my phone and both just boom, boom. I was like,
I was on it. I mean, I saw it like 10 minutes after it happened. It was crazy.
really? I mean, I listened to a bunch of other emergency pods. I wouldn't consider this an emergency pod. This is actually kind of the opposite of an emergency pod, because technically we should have done it yesterday, but it worked out perfectly because now we can do it today and talk about it.
Yes, exactly correct. Welcome everyone to episode 7,
8.
8, thank you, of the Ode to the Nets podcast. Um, the Nets have gotten a couple of wins since we last spoke. We've also each been to a basketball game, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
NBA game. And then, of course, last night, I guess technically this morning, was the craziest, probably the craziest trade in my lifetime, certainly, with Luka Doncic going to the Lakers. So, a few things to talk about today.
Well,
Um,
we definitely have some stuff to cover. Maybe we should work up to the Luka Doncic and the Lakers. That's how we keep them listening, you know. They have to stay tuned.
okay. Sounds good.
Um,
Go ahead, sorry.
well, my game was first chronologically, so I was just thinking I would talk about the game I went to. I saw the Sacramento Kings play the Nets at Barclays on Monday. And I'm not too familiar with the Sacramento Kings game. Uh, it was a lot more exciting to watch than the last game I went to, which was the Pacers. And we kind of kept it neck and neck and then lost by like about 15 at the end there. Um, there were like sort of three main points I wanted to talk about from that game. The first one, I hate to say it, you know, he's our favorite guy. Jalen Wilson had one of the worst games I could have possibly imagined watching. Like,
Yeah.
historically, I heard some statistic about NBA players over 6'5" who have never dunked and how small of a percentage it is. Jalen Wilson is a part of that elite group who's never dunked, but he did try in this game against the Kings. He had an unguarded breakaway, went up for the dunk, and it bounced right out. It was so bad. And he was like fouling, just his like shots from the field weren't going in. It was just honestly painful to watch, partially because I love him so much and I could sort of start to see the like pain and anguish on his face. And then waking up the next morning and hearing all the, you know, these like Nets talking heads being like, should we be worried about this guy? He came to us so late in the draft, like he's just not improving, blah, blah, blah. It hurt. It hurt. But I think it was just a little, they didn't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah. That is funny. Of course, I know of that stat. He is like the one of the tallest guys with a certain number of minutes played that's never dunked. So I do respect him for going for it, but
Yeah.
he clearly has a problem, which is so it's just so interesting. I don't know. I
With
don't know. It's
dunking.
very interesting to have like a phobia for dunking at 6'7", but we love Jalen Wilson. Of course,
He's
he helped Kansas get their latest national championship. So we'll always have love for him.
oh,
However, he has picked it up the past two games.
totally. Yeah, I figured he was just having an off game and he's been sort of up and down all season. I was not feeling as discouraged as everyone else. I was just a little like I had that sting of embarrassment, you know. But
Yeah.
I believe in him. I'm glad he's getting minutes. I like to see him take risks. Risks being fucking
Going
but
for dunks is a yeah.
But yeah, no, that was the main thing. Glad he's picked it up. I want to hear some of your perspective on that. The second thing I wanted to talk about, sorry, I need to go quicker through these, was Noah Clowney got injured. He sprained his ankle during the
Brutal.
game. Brutal to watch. It does seem like he's okay. Is he okay now? Have you seen him play since?
I have not seen him play since, but sprained
Yeah.
ankles usually only last a few weeks. Uh,
That's a lot, but it was really, really brutal to watch. I mean, just like true rolling around in pain,
ah,
crawling. Someone
ah,
had someone had to help him off the court. It was really bad to watch. Also, they just kept the play going. Like no one, they didn't stop the play for his injury, so that was also hard to watch. I was
that is messed up.
I hate when that happens. He had
That's
like dragged
actually that's what set me off in my soccer game earlier
that
today.
they kept going.
They injured our guy and they just kept playing and then they scored on that play. It's like, are you serious? Whatever. Sorry.
That
Keep
No, no, no. He literally just dragged himself off the court so he wouldn't be in the way, but like by his arms because his leg was so messed up. So that
Dang.
hurt. The third thing I want to talk about, I actually don't know that much about, so I need your help, is there's a player on the Sacramento Kings, last name Fox.
Yeah, he's their second best player. He's their point guard.
So I heard kind of like, he's entering the trade conversation. And I was wondering how that could potentially influence like Cam Johnson's trade prospects, just to have a somewhat similar caliber guy um up on the trade market. I don't know if you
Yeah,
have any thoughts there.
that is interesting. I would say De'Aaron Fox is probably considered a bit better than Cam Johnson. He has made some All-Star games, and
Hmm.
he is pretty electric. It was it was kind of out of the blue to see him enter the trade talks because the Sacramento Kings, they're always kind of like this middling of the pack team, or
Hmm.
not always, right? They've been bottom of the barrel for a while, but over these past few years at least. So
Yeah.
it was interesting to see them get rid of like their best or second best player, who they traded Tyrese Halliburton in order to, let him be the full-time point guard. And that was just a couple of years ago. So it was weird to see him enter the trade talks. There's been a lot of talks about him going to the San Antonio Spurs, which or
Hmm.
maybe even the Houston Rockets, but Cameron Johnson he hasn't been rumored to go either of those places much, at least. So I don't think it'll affect Cam Johnson, his trade market, I guess, too much. We are getting close, of course. It's only like what, 4 days away from the trade deadline. So it'll be interesting to see if Cam Johnson and De'Aaron Fox gets dealt, because that could shake up the league. The Spurs aren't a great team, but they're pretty good. And of course, they have Victor Wembanyama, so it would be pretty cool to see him with De'Aaron Fox, I think. But, who knows? Who knows what'll happen with them? Um, it's also interesting because their other best player, Sabonis, he also got snubbed from the All-Star game. He was considered like the biggest snub from the All-Star game
Right.
because those
Well,
those came out the other day.
yeah, I heard that like the surprise was James Harden and the snubs were Kyrie
Yeah,
and
Kyrie gets a bonus.
yeah, those two were the names I heard as well.
Yeah. Out east, it was also Trey Young was kind of considered snubbed. Uh,
Uh-huh.
it's just kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, I think all three of those guys got snubbed, but of course, every year someone's going to be snubbed. So what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, you can't please everyone.
Yeah, true.
Uh, okay, so would love to hear about how your Wizards game went.
So Wizards game was pretty fun. I was there with Dad, of course. Um, they played against the Raptors. This was Wednesday. The Raptors, of course, are not a good team, but they're actually on a win streak, a crazy win streak. One of the most. Oh wait, no, they lost the game since the Wizards. I'm sorry, they lost against the Bulls, but they won today actually. And before that, they were on a 5 game win streak.
Oh, that's pretty
They only have
good.
16 wins, and they were on a 5 game win streak.
That's crazy. Like one third of their wins.
I know, but of course, playing the Wizards helps contribute to that. I think at one point it was 4-20. So the game was over right away, almost. So which is unfortunate. Okay. But it was still fun. Grady Dick was sick with the
No,
flu. He was sick with the
no,
flu.
that
I
sucks.
know, I know. But Ochai Abaji
Mm,
are real. He's definitely one of my favorite players for sure. In the
yeah.
And he had a good game. It was one of his first games back from injury, so at least I got to see one Kansas player play, and it was pretty entertaining. Jordan Poole had an all-time bad game. So
Bad game?
yeah, Jordan Poole had an awful game, unfortunately. So did RJ Barrett, but they still won easily.
That's good.
Um, yeah, not much to report. I mean, Kyle Kuzma was pretty good, I guess, but I mean, we'll see if he gets traded at the trade deadline. Maybe not, but the Raptors, I guess I realized that the Raptors, even though they only have 16 wins or so, they're actually a decent team. I think they could have something cooking down the line,
Some potential.
but the Wizards, yeah, they're completely hopeless. It's sad.
I sent something to you earlier because I don't think I had a favorite Wizards player until this week when I picked up Jordan Poole for being a cat guy.
Oh, yes.
Had no idea he was talking about how it's like a thing, like an exclusive group of NBA guys that love cats. And he said he convinced Steph Curry to get a cat.
Well, yeah. I kind of like Jordan Poole. I definitely don't mind him.
Yeah, I think I don't need, it doesn't take much. Like, I like the kicker on the Bills just because he donated money to a cat rescue. So,
That's nice. That's definitely nice of him.
yeah, anything with animals, you know. I love an animal lover.
Yeah.
Wizards play at Nets soon. I might try and go that. I know you can't make it, but I might try and go to that game.
That would be fun. The Wizards right now are on a they were on a bad losing streak until they beat the Timberwolves yesterday. They were on like a 15 game losing streak. It was crazy. So I almost got to see history, but they broke the losing streak yesterday. So
I almost got to see history. So sad. Um, yeah, I think it could be fun. I think I haven't seen the Nets win a game in a long time. Um, I've seen the Pacers, then play the Pacers, the Kings. Before that, I had an almost exactly a year ago on Valentine's Day last year, I saw them lose to the Celtics,
ah,
and that's it. That's kind of it. So I would love to see them potentially beat the Wizards.
I think they could get that win. Although the Wizards might be a little hot, right, coming off one win, but
If
uh,
they lost to the Wizards, that would be good for our tanking odds. So whatever.
I guess so. Yeah. However,
The
um,
tickets are like $7.
yeah, that checks out. That checks out.
Should I go courtside?
This would be, I guess it would be the day before the trade deadline. So that could be interesting.
Oh, because what
Someone
if
can get traded middle of the game. You never know.
they escort Kim Johnson off the sidelines? He hasn't played it. Um, okay. And I also have to go to that game maybe because if you recall, I've now brought it up 3 times. I had been planning to get tickets to see the Lakers at Nets, and now I think it's out of the question.
You
The
got
tickets,
to. That would be epic. Although Luka Doncic has been injured.
but the tickets have skyrocketed
Uh,
already. They were already expensive. I should have bought them but how would I have known?
yeah, there's no way of knowing.
Are you
Um,
talk about it?
yes, real quick though, I got pizza in the oven. I gotta take out real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, we're
As
back
your
out of the oven.
Okay, good. I
Time to
said,
talk Luka Doncic.
yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Um, so I think we were foreshadowing when I think it was just last episode, I asked, do you think Luca's cute? And then
Yes, we literally talked about Luca last podcast. So random. This happens.
he's not someone we should be talking about, but here we are again. Historic trade to the Lakers. I just can't, I've been, reading about it. I've been looking at it this way and that way. What were the Mavericks thinking? Like what happened?
This has got to be the dumbest trade. Top three dumbest trades of all time. And how did they just get so lucky to benefit off this stupidity by the Dallas Mavericks? You literally just made the finals with Luka Doncic carrying, absolutely carrying Of course, we talked about his finals performance last podcast. Wasn't great, but he's only 25 years old. He would have been guaranteed playoffs for the next 10 years, damn near. And the Dallas, it's also so ironic because Dallas, their last championship was thanks to another European white guy that was a four-lifer for Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki. And
Mm.
he was a four-lifer for Dallas. And obviously nowadays you don't get four-lifers that much. And it was just so random too. I mean, it really shook up. I mean, it's so crazy. It seemed fake. It seemed fake, but obviously, good for Luca, good for the Lakers. Maybe not good for Luca though. I mean, like the team again could have been positioned to go back to the finals, but and now you got this crazy state tax. No, I'm kidding, of course, but
No,
but
that's probably a consideration. Um,
yeah, I
yeah,
guess I'm talking hundreds of millions, but it is crazy.
I just like, yeah, it's crazy. I feel like I'd also been hearing some stuff about Anthony Edwards recently, just about how he's kind of old. And
Anthony
yeah,
Davis, Anthony Davis,
what did I say?
Edwards. It's all good.
Sorry, my bad, my bad. Anthony Davis is getting kind of old, and he's having a show where he does practical jokes, a
Okay, I
reality
didn't know
show.
about that.
So it sounds like his head's not in the game. If he's trying to launch his career, he's not gonna be like a. I've never, I can't see that for him. And so
No,
they found this like guy in his 30s, early 30s, traded away their 25-year-old superstar because I don't know if this is actually why, but what I've heard is because he was 270 pounds.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
That feels wow. That is messed up. I mean, they did say it was
I,
because of like his conditioning and because he's not good on defense. But again, it's
so that
just
was just,
idiotic.
they were just basically saying because he's fat,
I know. It is just so ridiculous. I mean, he literally just carries you to the finals, and this is
how you treat him.
I know. And Anthony Davis, yeah, as you said, he's in his 30s. I think you're right in saying that he is a little checked out. I mean, he won a championship. He has a ring, right? He had some moments in that playoff run. Of course, he had the game winner against the Nuggets. That was pretty epic. I mean, he was really good in that run, but and he's top 75 NBA all time. I don't know if you knew that, but
I
he
didn't, but
actually it's actually kind of funny because two of the people that were considered snubbed from the top 75 all NBA were Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson, who he's now teammates with in Dallas. So that might be a little awkward, but as you said, I think I mean, I guess I just don't see them winning the championship this year. And again, because Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, and Anthony Davis are so old, they don't win this year or next year, they're never gonna win. I mean, you just traded away your franchise practically in Luka Doncic. You could have got so much more, I feel like, as well, if you just made it known that he was available. I feel like you could have got practically anybody or anything you wanted. Because Luka Doncic is just so valuable. He's considered like a top three player in the world, like the third best player in the world, and he's only 25. And you just get Anthony Davis and a first round pick and Max Christie back. I mean, cool, I guess, but when it just also makes no sense on paper even because like your best player or your second best player, sorry, I guess your third best player, Derek Lively is like a center. And then
yeah.
your fourth best player is a power forward. So one of those guys is gonna have to come off the bench. And
Mm.
it's like, yeah, maybe you'll be really good on defense, but do you really trust Kyrie Irving to be your best player? I don't. I mean, I watched him with the Celtics. It was not good. It was not great when he's your best player. And so I really hope they don't. This is gonna sound like some hater stuff, but I really hope they don't do well in the playoffs.
The
Uh,
Mavs.
yeah, I'm sorry. I was also thinking if I was a Mavericks fan,
I was about to say that exact thing. How upset I would be.
I could never. I would have to stop. I would jump on the Houston Rockets bandwagon
So
seriously,
100%.
or even San Antonio. I mean, they got Victor Wembanyama.
The disrespect to their fandom by doing that is crazy. Um, yeah, that just sucks. Like I just feel bad. I sent you a tweet earlier and I put it on the Instagram where someone was like, I named my dog Luca. What am I supposed to call him now? Anthony Davis. Which brings me to the point you may have noticed Sunday isn't here. My foster cat got adopted and he has a new name.
He has a new name.
Yeah, and they took his bow tie off.
What's
That's
the
all.
what's the name?
Mars. I don't think Mars is a terrible name for him, but
No, it's not. That's kind of the girl's name, no? Or,
I think it's pretty gender neutral, which is like he was always kind of
yeah.
he was the most masculine cat.
Well, that is good. He got adopted, though. I know he was old, so it's nice to have someone to take care of him.
I'm really happy for him. I'm just sad for me.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And
He had some
so
iconic moments on this podcast that will live on forever, though.
the bites will never die. I will have scars and proof on the podcast. Yeah. No, or I think he slapped me in the first episode. He didn't bite me. But yeah, I'll miss him. And I think I might take a little break from fostering cats. We'll see how long that lasts, because I can't keep doing this to myself emotionally.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, that would be tough, definitely.
So, I mean, maybe we should talk about this off pod, but this might be our last podcast for a while because you're going to be traveling.
Yeah, I'll be traveling for the next week and a half. However, I might be able to. I mean, again, we'll see what happens at the trade deadline. I'd probably
Uh,
be able to record another emergency pod midweek if something happens, which it likely will. So I could probably find some time midweek. We'll see though.
It'd be so anticlimactic if just nothing happened after all this.
Yeah, something's bound to happen. No, I mean, even though the craziest thing already happened, but with the Nets, I think something will still happen. One last thing to mention about the Luka trade though. It's kind of a full circle moment that's connected to the Nets. But Luka Doncic, one of his best friends was Dorian Finney-Smith, who they
Mm.
traded for Kyrie Irving. So now he's reunited in the Lakers. So that's kind of cool, I guess. They're back.
Yeah, maybe that's why the whole thing happened. You requested that trade, so you give me the toy.
wanted, he wanted to go be with Dorian Finney-Smith. I love the story.
And the Mavericks just had to make that dream come true.
You know, with that perspective, that's, respect to the Mavericks.
We forgive them. We forgive you. Um, okay, great. So I'll either see you in the next week or in 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah,
Great. Thanks for talking.
yeah, of course.
Oh, shout outs.
Shout outs. Did you want to give any? Did you have any on? I guess you probably didn't have any on the top of your
I
head.
just remembered it. I was gonna say, shout out Jalen Wilson. You'll get that dunk eventually.
Amen. For me, for me, who do I want to shout out this week? I guess. Hmm. I guess I got to shout out. I hope I don't mispronounce his name, but Tosan Ebowan,
Oh,
Nets player that got signed on the earlier this year. I saw a post from the Brooklyn Nets about like how his journey to the NBA. Did you know he went to Princeton?
I did. That's pretty cool.
I know, and he had to play, obviously he had to play for some like G League teams, and now he's here, kind of killing it with the Nets. So shout out everyone.
That's a good one. Bring more attention to him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for listening. It was fun.
Thank you. Bye.
Peace.